You are listening to Reddit to Speech Stories. Welcome back, viewers, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries and anyone with ears or other sound detection organs. Hope you enjoy. We are continuing with Doom Guy Isekai by Angry Spider.
Chapter 39, How to Doom. The soldier glared at the demons following him for what had to be the third time. They sensed the fury and rapidly backed to a safe distance, while still ensuring that they were in eyeshot. After he was finished with whatever it was that happened to the demons, he'd headed off in the direction of the helpfully marked tunnel towards the next demon city, which was evidently called Despair. He didn't really care about what it was called so long as he could raze it to the ground. But now his brand new demons were sticking as close to him as they could without him killing them. And considering that they wouldn't die forever if he killed them, it was rapidly becoming a more and more attractive prospect. Even Daisy, whose idea this had been in the first place, was beginning to get a little irritated. Yo! We didn't kill you. Can you go away already? Isabel growled as if in agreement, lightly bouncing on her paws. The one in the lead paused uncertainly. But, we swore fealty. He sounded rather confused about the situation at hand and took a hesitant step forward.
I've been examining genocide for a bit, along with the fealty link. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that if you just straight up killed them now, they would respawn nearby without losing any experience.
The soldier slowed as he worked out the ramifications of that particular piece of information and figured it out rather quickly. Summoning his shotgun and turning, he blasted the head off of the demon one-handed. Everyone froze, staring wide-eyed at his corpse as it slowly fell over, blood spurting from the severed neck. Daisy the first to speak, exploding, "What the heck? I thought we weren't going to." She paused as a portion of the crimson wall bulged, bubbling as though it were liquid, and then erupting in a shower of blood. The same demon that the soldier had just effectively decapitated fell out of it, stumbling forward. He wore identical armor to the corpse on the floor. Staring at his hands in confusion, he looked up and asked, "Did I just die?" The other demons walked forward, patting him down as if they weren't sure he was actually real. "The Doom guy just killed you. He used one of his weapons to remove your head. It was pretty cool." The rest of the demons snapped around to look at the one who had made that final statement, a particularly bulky one with magnificent curving horns. He noticed their expressions and shrugged indifferently. "You decided to follow him because you wanted to live. I'm following him because he rips everything he fights to bits, whether that be with his special weapons, his bare hands, or even the parts of his enemies. It's admirable on a number of levels." Watching the speaker with an appraising view, the soldier wondered if perhaps these demons, or at least, this one, enjoyed slaying half as much as he did. Probably not, he decided. Daisy directed Isabel over to him, squinting skeptically. "What's your name?" The demon folded his arms, cheerfully grumbling, "Tagril. And you're the Doom guy's pet, right?" She waved it away. "I prefer to think of myself as a personal companion. I'm Daisy, just so you know. Anyway, you said you like to, kill and everything." Tagril nodded happily, and she asked with a devious smirk, "And you'd be okay with killing other demons?" It took him by surprise, and he sat back on his heels for a moment, thinking. A few seconds later, he said thoughtfully, "I believe I would, yes. After all, the Doom guy will be slaying quite a lot of demons wherever we're going, and I don't think it'd be very helpful of us if we didn't help." The other demons looked incredibly uncomfortable as they realized the implications of that, and the one who had originally spoken said doubtfully, "I mean, I kinda thought we could convince the Doom guy to stop killing demons after a while." Daisy snorted loudly. "Is that a joke? Everything I've heard about him and everyone I've talked to about him says that he's not gonna be satisfied until all of hell is dead. Barring present company, of course." Tagril was the only demon who looked interested as opposed to horrified. "All of hell. That's going to be quite the task. The other 9 sins aren't going to be happy at all that you killed Envy, and I'm willing to bet they already know. Do you really think you can kill a group that's reigned for over 1,000 years?" He directed the final part at the soldier, whose temper was building to a boil the more he listened to these demons. Without the slightest hesitation, the soldier gave Tagrel a thumbs up, hoping that it would serve as a threat and perhaps goad the demon into attacking him. That way, he'd be able to murder him permanently. One of the demons threw his hands in the air. There's no way. You're going to die. And all of hell. Really? That's never going to work, there are way too many demons. We have armies of slaves. We could. The soldier had been waiting for an opportunity.
Oath of fealty has been broken by Vosgohuk. Rip and tear, bud, 'cause he ain't coming back from this.
And this was nothing if not an opportunity. Launching himself forward, the soldier ripped Vosgohuk's entire arm off, and then promptly used the jagged edge of the broken humerus to impale the demon in the gut. Before the unfortunate demon could even begin to react, the soldier shoved a grenade down his throat and punched through the front of his neck to yank the pin out. Blood spraying from the already mostly dead opponent, the soldier straight kicked him away from the group. Skipping across the ground, the demon gargled, "Why?" and then exploded. A mess of blood and guts blew over everyone present, and the soldier grinned. To his surprise, he noticed a similar expression on both Daisy and Tagrel's faces. As for the remaining demons, they turned to the soldier with murderous expressions. "You accepted his fealty and then killed him," one of them growled, and the others muttered their agreement. Tagrel melted to the back of the group and gave the soldier a thumbs up. The soldier wasn't entirely sure how to feel about that, so he settled for angry.
I know you want the summary, so here it is. All of them except Tagrel just broke their oath of fealty. You kill them now, they stay dead.
The soldier's heart sang at the news. He raised one hand, and a device appeared in his palm. With a bulky back end and a narrow piece of metal extending out from it, tiny jagged blades wrapped around the strip and feeding into the bigger section, the weapon looked rather ominous in its own brutal way. And that was before the soldier pulled the ripcord on the chainsaw. With a moaning shriek and the growl of a murderous engine, the chainsaw's blades whipped into motion, a blur of shredding death hurtling at horrific speeds near the soldier's hands. Hurling himself into the suddenly regretful demons, the soldier brought the chainsaw down on one's head, and nearly cut him in half. It was neither clean nor rapid, and the soldier couldn't have been happier. One of them tried to claw his side and yelled in pain as his claws dulled. The soldier rewarded the demon's attempt by grabbing him by a horn and bisecting him across the chest. They began to stumble backward, trying to retreat. Blocking them from moving any further, Tagrel bodily lifted a demon and ripped him in half with a grunt of effort. In the time it took for the savagely happy demon to do so, the soldier had gone through another 3 in short succession, sawing their legs off and diagonally removing one side of their bodies from the other. With only 4 to go, the soldier switched to his bare fists and performed a messy bariatric surgery on the one directly to his right. Shoving yet another grenade in the space where the demon's gut should be, he picked the bleeding demon up and tossed him at the remaining 3. Tagrel dove out of the way as the explosion rocked the tunnel, and Daisy nearly fell off of Isabel. The whole process had taken perhaps 3 seconds. The soldier decided that having 11 demons in tow was too many, and that one was tolerable. Barely tolerable. Barely. Chapter 40, Tunnel o' Doom. The endless crimson road of stones and jagged stalactites was beginning to get boring, the soldier decided. With no demons to slay, he was getting itchy. Not the normal kind of itchy, either. It was the type of scratch that he could only reach with an extremely dangerous weapon, carving through miles and miles of never-ending demon hordes with a smile on his face. Looking behind him, his eyes narrowed once again at the demon quietly following Isabel and Daisy. He was ensuring that his body language was as submissive and non-threatening as possible, but the soldier only had to recall how he'd treated his fellow Hellspawn and he wanted to blast him in the face with a super shotgun. Well, to be fair, he wanted to do that with or without the demon's actions. If it had red skin and horns, there was a good chance he was going to blow its head off its shoulders sooner or later. Until Tagrel made a move, though, the soldier would stick with the agreement he made. It would be nice if the thing would just go ahead and betray them already. That itch was getting worse as they walked. Daisy was fast asleep on Isabel's broad back, and Isabel was keeping an eye on her while ELD navigated. The soldier still hadn't seen the Orthrus fight since they got the new armor, and he was curious to see how much of an improvement there'd be. As for Daisy herself, the soldier was slightly worried about her. The leapery was relatively small when compared to the soldier or even Alice, and while she'd displayed remarkable speed before, her ribs were still visible. Even after the soldier's healing punch, he could see the faintest vestiges of scars wrapping around her stomach. It made him want to go back to Keldron, find that slaver, and turn his ribcage into a coat rack. Tagriel coughed loudly, and the soldier nearly shotgunned him right there. "If you don't mind my asking, where are we going?" The soldier looked around for a moment and found a signpost aiming down the huge tunnel they were traversing. It happily read, 5 miles to despair. "If you want to live, this isn't the place to do it." Nodding thoughtfully, Tagriel added, "And we're just going to walk on in and start murdering everything, yes?" Every word the demon spoke made sparks hurtle around the soldier's boots. It wasn't that he was being rude or violent. Except it actually was, the soldier realized. This demon didn't sprint towards him full tilt, arms outstretched and teeth bared for a fight to the end. He didn't stand back and hurl plasma at the soldier, only to run when the soldier inevitably chased after him. Tagriel didn't so much as growl at him. It was so unlike the demons the soldier had been fighting that he genuinely didn't know what to do about him. Was he faking it? He had to be planning something. They hadn't run into any foot traffic on their way through the tunnel. In fact, they hadn't seen so much as a forked tail. The soldier reassured himself that he could rip and tear all he wanted once he made it to despair, and then that thirst for blood would be slaked for even a few hours. They continued along their way for several minutes before Tagriel asked again, "So, do you have a plan for when we get there?" The soldier didn't even turn around.
Rip and tear.
If he saw that demon's face one more time he was pretty sure he'd take it off his head. Tagriel nodded once again. "And do you think this plan will work?" Daisy snapped into awakeness, looking around blearily. What's going on?" Walking up next to her, Tagriel politely told her, "We were discussing the plan for how to take out the entire city of Despair. All we've got so far is rip and tear." Rubbing at her eyes, Daisy sat up on Isabel's back, yawning. "Well, it worked for Brimstone, didn't it?" He agreed, "True, but Despair has quite a lot more security. I'm aware you defeated Envy, but I'm fairly sure you didn't know that she and her subjects are widely considered to be at the bottom of the ladder when it comes to demons in general. This is Roth's territory, and he and his allies are considerably less squishy. Are you quite sure your weapons are capable of handling the stronger enemies?" The soldier was completely certain, yes. With a BFG and a super shotgun, anything with a pulse and 2 horns would be rendered dead with extreme prejudice in a few seconds. Looking up, he saw something unusual. A checkpoint in the distance, consisting of a simple bar across the tunnel and 2 booths at either end. A demon sat in each one, lightly armored and dozing. They might as well been wrapped and tied up with a bow for Christmas. Pacing forward, the soldier leaned into a full run and pounded towards them. They noticed him pretty quickly, and one of them practically hurled himself at something behind one of the booths. A faint shimmer of purple laid itself across the tunnel, stretching from one side to the other and spanning all the way to the ceiling. The soldier charged towards it, and a moment later, made contact. He practically bounced off of it, the light rippling as though a stone had been hurled into a lake, and the soldier stumbled backward. Glaring at the barrier for a moment, he watched the 2 demons nervously exit their booths and take a look at the soldier. They started laughing, and one of them shouted, "Yeah, how ya like that? Try and kill us from there, monster." The soldier obliged. Stomping towards the barrier, he removed his chain gun and set the barrels spinning. Seconds later, he unloaded a barrage of bullets into the violet light, sending rapid-fire ripples blasting across it. The noise was immense, and Daisy held her ears close to her body, hugging them tightly with both arms. Isabel put their paws over their ears. Tagriel seemed unaffected.
You have expended all mana. Magic armaments deactivated.
His chain gun dissolved into crimson energy and fueled back into the soldier mere seconds after he'd started firing. He'd forgotten that the thing used his mana as an energy source, due to his murder machine perk. He'd gotten used to slaying enough demons that it refilled instantly. Apparently that wouldn't work here. Most would have given up there and tried to talk their way in. The soldier was far from being most people. Grabbing the blue notification, he experimentally stabbed it into the purple light, and it went through without resistance. Pleasantly surprised, the soldier waited.
Huh. Didn't know that'd happen. I take it you have a plan.
Seizing the second board, the soldier used it to cut through the barrier again, and the smiles on the demons' faces began to fade. The soldier kept adding more and more boards as Handyman continued to talk, and after the 10th one, a hole appeared in the light, rimmed by notification boards. The soldier stepped through, and the demons wet themselves.
End of chapter. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss any episode and do all the other YouTube stuff. Visit and support the author. All the relevant links are in the doobly-doo, and comment your opinions, good or bad. And I'll see you next time. And as usual, have a wonderful day.